Welcome to Stoic Wisdom. Today we're stepping into a conversation that most men avoid, but every man needs to hear. Sign 1, the mixed signals game. Imagine this. One day, she's sending heart emojis. She's quick to reply, laughing at your jokes, hinting at a future. She says, "I can't wait to see you." Then, out of nowhere, silence, coldness, excuses. Her texts turn from paragraphs into one-word replies. You ask what's wrong. She says, "Nothing, I'm just busy." Busy? Maybe. But here's the truth most men don't want to admit. This is a deliberate shift. A test. Women know that inconsistency creates uncertainty, and uncertainty creates craving. It's basic psychology. When something is unpredictable, your brain gets hooked trying to solve the puzzle. It's the same reason slot machines are addictive. You never know when you'll get the reward. And so, without even realizing it, you become hooked, chasing, wondering, overanalyzing. This is the mixed signals game. Now let's ground this in Stoic wisdom. The Stoics faced a world filled with chaos, wars, plagues, betrayals, sudden losses. They knew they couldn't control these storms, but they could control their response. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." In other words, the hot and cold behavior of a woman is an outside event. It's not in your control. What is in your control? Your reaction. Most men fail this test because they surrender their control. They text back faster, desperate to win her warmth again. They apologize for things they didn't even do. They chase, they explain, they plead. And do you know what happens? They lose respect because the game isn't about love, it's about power. And the moment you show that your peace depends on her validation, you've handed over your strength. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Jake, a confident guy, at least at first. He met Emily, a woman who seemed genuinely interested. The first few weeks were fire. She laughed at his jokes, texted constantly, even introduced him to her friends. But then the games began. One week, she was affectionate. The next, she was distant. She'd cancel plans last minute. When Jake pulled away, she'd suddenly pop back up with, "I miss you." Jake felt like a puppet on strings. His emotions rose and fell with her moods. Until one day, something shifted. Jake had been reading about Stoicism. He came across Epictetus's teaching. Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do, and you will go on well. It hit him. He couldn't control Emily's moods, but he could control his response. So he stopped reacting. When she pulled away, he didn't chase. When she played hot and cold, he stayed steady. When she tried to spark jealousy, he remained calm, even amused. And what happened? The power dynamic flipped. Suddenly, Emily was the one chasing, trying to figure him out. Here's the principle. A woman only plays games with a man she thinks she can control. The moment she realizes your peace doesn't depend on her mood, the game collapses. So how do you win the mixed signals game? Detach from the outcome. Whether she's hot or cold, remain the same man. Don't over-explain. If she's distant, don't beg for clarity. Respect the silence. Stay busy. Not with pretending, but with a life so full that her coldness barely registers. This isn't about arrogance. It's about stoic self-mastery. Sign 2, the jealousy trap. If the first test, the mixed signals game, is about uncertainty, then the second test is about comparison. This is the jealousy trap. It goes something like this. She mentions other men around you. Maybe it's subtle. My coworker said the funniest thing today. Maybe it's obvious. My ex used to take me here all the time. Or worse, maybe she flirts in front of you, checking to see if you'll lose your composure. At its core, this test is not about those other men. It's about you. It's about your reaction. Because jealousy, to most men, is a fire that consumes them. It burns logic, it burns patience, it burns dignity. But here's the truth the Stoics knew. No one can make you jealous without your consent. Let's pause here. Imagine Marcus Aurelius, the emperor of Rome, seated in his tent during a war campaign. Soldiers whisper, rivals plot, enemies taunt him, If he lost his calm every time someone tried to provoke him, he would have been destroyed, not by the sword, but by his own emotions. In his meditations, he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. Jealousy is an outside event. The moment you let her words or actions disturb your peace, you've handed her the strings to control you." Now, let's bring this to life with a story. The story of Daniel and Clara. Daniel was ambitious, disciplined, and strong, but when it came to relationships, he had one weakness: jealousy. He met Clara at a friend's gathering. She was magnetic, charming, full of life. For the first few weeks, things were perfect. Long walks, deep conversations, late-night calls. Then it began. At dinner one evening, Clara casually said, "Oh, my coworker James is so funny. He reminds me of you." Daniel smiled politely, but inside he burned. The next week, she posted a picture with male friends on social media. Daniel spent hours scrolling, zooming in, overanalyzing every detail. Then one night she said, almost teasingly, "You know, my ex used to buy me flowers every week." Daniel snapped. He accused her of disrespect, demanded explanations, even threatened to walk away. Clara? She just sat back and watched. And in that moment, Daniel didn't realize it. But he was failing the test, because every outburst, every overreaction confirmed to Clara that she held the power. Now imagine if Daniel had approached it with stoic calm. When she mentioned James, he could have smiled and said nothing, showing no ripple of insecurity. When she posted with friends, he could have continued living his life, too busy to obsess over pixels on a screen. When she brought up her ex, he could have responded lightly, with humor, or simply changed the subject. That reaction, or better said, that non-reaction, would have flipped the script entirely. Because here's the paradox. When you don't take the bait, when you refuse to compete, you demonstrate unshakable confidence. And suddenly, she sees you as the man who cannot be manipulated by comparison. The Stoic lens on jealousy, Seneca once wrote, "He's a great man who uses earthenware dishes as if they were silver, but he is equally great who uses silver as if it were earthenware." What did he mean? True strength lies not in the value of what you hold, but in your attitude toward it. In relationships, jealousy reveals whether you see your partner as silver you're terrified to lose, or as a choice you value but don't depend on for identity. A Stoic man recognizes this. She is free to do as she pleases. I am free to respond with dignity. Her behavior is her character. My reaction is mine. When you understand this, jealousy loses its grip. Practical steps to outsmart the jealousy trap. Control your focus. When she mentions another man, don't feed the thought. Jealousy grows where attention flows. Redirect your mind to your own goals, your mission, your discipline. Respond with calm or humor. If she teases you with comparisons, respond lightly. A calm smile says, "I'm not threatened." A playful joke says, "I see the attempt, but it doesn't move me." Refuse to compete. A man who tries to outdo her ex or rival is already defeated. The Stoic man stands firm. I am enough as I am, take it or leave it. Detach from outcome. If her comparisons become toxic, walk away. A man who can leave with dignity holds ultimate power. Why women? Test with jealousy. Now you might ask, why do women even do this? Some do it to feel desired, some do it to test your security, and some, unfortunately, do it simply for control. But here's the key, their reasons don't matter. What matters is your response, because once she realizes that her attempts to spark jealousy fall flat, that you remain steady, calm, unbothered, she will either respect you more deeply or move on to someone else who can be controlled. And both outcomes are a win. The Stoic victory, remember this, jealousy is not proof of love. Jealousy is proof of insecurity. When you master yourself, you no longer play in that arena. You rise above it. And that is how you outsmart the jealousy trap. Sign 3, the ultimatum test. If the mixed signals game is about uncertainty and the jealousy trap is about insecurity, then the final and most dangerous test is about control. This is the ultimatum test. It looks like this. If you really love me, you would. Either you do this or we're done. Prove yourself or I'll find someone who will. On the surface, it sounds like a challenge, a call to step up, but beneath it, there's something darker. an attempt to corner you, to bend your will, to make you choose between your dignity and her approval. And here's the harsh reality. Most men fail this test. Why? Because they fear loss more than they value self-respect. The story of Marcus and Lila. Marcus was a strong, hard-working man. He had built a solid life for himself, career, discipline, a clear sense of direction. Then came Lila. She was beautiful, magnetic, and used to get in her way. At first, everything was smooth, but soon the ultimatums began. One night she said, "If you really care about me, you'll cancel your plans with your friends and stay with me." Marcus, not wanting to upset her, gave in. Another time, "If you don't post me on social media, it means you're hiding me." So Marcus posted against his own preference. Then came the big one. "Either we move in together right now, or we're done." Marcus froze. His gut told him it was too soon, but his fear whispered, "If I don't agree, I'll lose her." So he caved, and with each cave-in, something inside him weakened. His boundaries blurred, his respect diminished, and Lila, she respected him less, with every surrender. Because here's the paradox: a woman doesn't truly want a man who gives up his values under pressure. She may win the battle, but in the end, she loses respect for him. The Stoic response. Now imagine Marcus had taken a Stoic approach. When she said, "Cancel your plans or you don't love me," he could calmly reply, "I value my commitments." Love is not measured by obedience to ultimatums. When she demanded, "Post me or you're hiding me," he could answer, "My life isn't defined by online validation. If that's not enough for you, then we're not aligned." When she declared, "Move in now or we're done," he could stand firm, "I move at my own pace. If that doesn't work for you, I respect your choice to walk away." That, my friend, is Stoic strength. It's not anger, it's not aggression, it's calm, steady, unmovable dignity. And here's the magic. When you refuse to crumble under ultimatums, one of two things happens. She realizes her tactics don't work and respects you more deeply. She leaves, freeing you from someone who never respected you in the first place. Either way, you win. Why ultimatums are tests. Ultimatums expose what kind of man you are. A man driven by fear of loss, he surrenders. A man grounded in principle, he stands firm. The Stoics would say life itself gives us ultimatums every day. Fate whispers, suffer this loss or lose your peace. Which do you choose? The wise man chooses peace, always. As Epictetus taught, no man is free who is not master of himself. When you bow to ultimatums, you become a slave, not to her, but to your own fear. When you stand firm, you prove mastery over yourself. Practical steps to outsmart the ultimatum. Test pause before responding. Never react in the heat of the moment. Take a breath. Remember, her words are not chains unless you bind yourself with them. Hold your boundaries. Know your values ahead of time. If something feels wrong, don't compromise out of fear. Detach from outcome. If standing firm means she walks away, let her. Better a lonely king than a caged servant. Respond with calm. Anger shows insecurity. Calm shows strength. Speak with clarity, not emotion. The conclusion. The Stoic man wins every game. Now let's step back. We've covered 3 major tests. The mixed signals game, when she's hot then cold. The jealousy trap, when she sparks comparison to see if you crumble. The ultimatum test, when she corners you to see if you'll surrender your values. Each of these games is different, but they all point to the same truth. Women test men not to destroy them, but to reveal them. And what do these tests reveal? Whether you are grounded or drifting, whether your peace is self-owned or easily stolen, whether you are a man who leads himself or one who can be led by the strings of manipulation. The Stoics remind us you cannot control her moods. You cannot control her comparisons. You cannot control her ultimatums, but you can always control yourself. And when you master yourself, your emotions, your reactions, your dignity, you win every game without plan. So remember, when she's hot and cold, stay steady. When she sparks jealousy, stay calm. When she throws ultimatums, stay true to your principles. Because in the end, The highest victory is not over her, it's over yourself. And that, my friend, is the essence of Stoic wisdom.